All right, everybody, welcome back. Episode 3 of the Jordan McCabe podcast. Subject to change. I'm starting to like that more for a title, but I got to talk to all the people that get hired to do all this stuff and are a lot better than me at making things up like that. And we're going to try to get through a couple different things today. NBA season is just about to get underway. You guys are obviously keeping up on all the preseason stuff. If you're into all that, my friend Tyler Hero seems to just torch anybody in his path right now. He's been killing. He had the first 14 points straight 2 nights ago or 3 nights ago. So I guess that's pretty good. It's not a bad thing to do in your first few NBA games. He's looking more than comfortable out there. Super excited about watching him kind of grow and chase after that Rookie of the Year, because that might be wild. People are like, well, you got Zion, you got RJ, you got all these people going for Rookie of the Year. But I will tell you something, and we'll have Tyler on the show eventually if he can clear it. Let my lousy self anywhere near Miami or Tyler. He's kind of big time now. I only get like 1 FaceTime a week from him instead of 2. But no, we talk a lot, and he is going to be chasing that Rookie of the Year vote because that's what Tyler's always done. So looking forward to the NBA season. I think you're going to see a lot of the landscape change. Obviously with the Warriors not having KD and KD not being in the league this year, out for injury reasons, I still don't think you can put your money against the Warriors. I might be biased. Just kidding. It's not mine. I'm completely biased. I love Steph Curry. I love the Warriors, and I do believe that they find a way to get to the finals, and then anything's possible from there. So excited for that. Super excited for college basketball to start here. We're getting ready to try to open some eyes, as well as, a lot of good teams and a lot of good storylines to kind of follow out there across the league. So send me anything you got with questions about the NBA, about college basketball, or anything about anything. I'm willing to talk about it all. With that being said, want to introduce somebody that we're going to have an interview with right now, and you're going to hear with Serato. That is one of the top, if not the top, sneaker customizers in the world. Serato's a guy who has a really interesting and unique story. Super excited for you guys to get to just listen in and hear about how he took art and sports and combined them to not only make a living, but I mean, he's doing even more than that. He's getting to meet people that, we all, would want to meet in our wildest dreams, and sit down with some people that he can really learn a lot of stuff from. So hope you guys enjoy it. With that being said, here's my sit down, not interview, because that's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to talk to people with Serato. Hope you guys enjoy. Corey, how you doing, man?
What's going on, man? It's all good.
So Corey's not the name you really go by. You're more of a. Give me your stage name real quick. What's that?
Yeah, for sure. So that'd be Serato is what I usually go by on the internet, YouTube, all that stuff.
Serato. So you can look up Serato on all your socials. See, I made you say it because I was looking at it. I'm like, I'm gonna butcher. I'm gonna butcher this.
I was gonna ask how they were gonna do that.
Yeah, no doubt. I was gonna butcher it, so I just threw it up to you. Where's that come from? Before we get into it, all the introductions and stuff are coming, but where's Serato come from?
Word. So yeah, that's it's like my former business partner, or whatever. When I first started doing all this stuff, he actually came up with the name. It's actually Italian. It's short for Serato, which is living carefree. So we just shortened it down to make it kind of easier.
Sweet. Yeah. So it's Italian for living carefree. I love it. Love it.
Yeah.
So,
a little high fashion.
Yeah, no doubt. So obviously people, are watching right now and can see the stuff behind you, which I think is awesome. I don't know if I appreciate you coming on my show, showing me up, because I'm sitting here. You can see in the background, I think I got like cereal that's expired back there on top of my fridge, and that's about it. But no, that's sweet. Tell me a little bit about your sneaker wall back there.
So yeah, this is just the house collection, the ones I keep. So this is just basically a bunch of joints I've had since some of these go all the way back to high school. and just kind of keeping the collection going. And now I kind of use it for background, for my own YouTube and all that kind of stuff whenever I do my little cuts and everything like that. So.
No, it's dope. So you're a definite sneakerhead. I don't think there's any question about that.
A little bit, yeah.
You got a favorite one back there? What's your favorite sneaker?
I actually thought about this because I figured they might ask, so I don't think I have one on the wall back here. That's my favorite one. I think, like, if I was just going to pick one, I'm all about, like, the Travis Scotts right now. You could probably pick either any one of those, but a little less hype BC answer maybe. But,
yeah.
I don't know. Like, my favorite, like, shoe, like, right now just is probably these PG3s back there. Those are kind of, like, my favorite, like, hooping shoe right now. So, I try to get all the different versions of the Apollo mission, the NASA joints they put out. So, they're all pretty cool. So,
so obviously you're a sneakerhead and everybody can see that. You talked a little bit about your YouTube channel and everything that you've grown with your business, but we're a few minutes in and people haven't gotten the proper introduction. So less I talk, the better. You go ahead and take it. Tell us who you are, what you do exactly. Give me your little blurb on that.
Cool. So yeah, I'm Corey Bailey, I guess. I usually go by Serato, pretty much, all over the place. And my main thing is, I'm an artist, so I just do a lot of sneaker customization. So I do it for all the, pretty much anybody. I mean, I've done, all the celebrities, all the way up to, Chris Brown and Amigos, all the way down to, regular people that can order from the website. All in between. So a lot of NBA guys, a lot of college guys, all the Zion stuff last year, a lot of that kind of stuff. So I try to keep to that. I'm trying to branch out, maybe some soccer and I got a couple of NFL guys. I'm trying to get some more foot into that, but they're a little more strict right now, so it's a little harder for the soccer and football stuff. But everywhere else, I'm trying to, I'm pretty much in there. So that's kind of my thing.
That's good stuff, man. That's awesome, Corey. So we'll kind of take it from the top, or I guess from the beginning of you and your business. Me and you were actually in a similar area or similar realm of this sneaker / clothing customization. I used to take Nike Elite socks when I was like 8 years old, and then I'd put them on my kitchen counter and I'd dye them in like clothing dye and then spray like paint all over. And after I ruined my mom's oak kitchen table, I was out of the business. And that was the end of that for me. But tell me how you got started with all this customization stuff.
Yeah, for sure. That's actually a funny story because I know a guy that did like that same thing with the Nike Elites. Is that he took it a step further eventually, I guess. He started doing like the sublimated prints on top of them, so you could do like
Yeah, he was
or whatever.
Yeah, he was good at what he did. And then there was just me destroying things and doing stuff. I had this master plan. I was gonna make all these, like I vividly remember these purple socks that I turned them purple. They were this really gross looking washed purple, and it had a black stripe, and then I just splatter painted yellow on it, and then I threw them in the wash, ruined a bunch of stuff, and that was the end for me.
I might have to try that now.
No, I'm telling you, don't do that. You got it. I don't.
I got some place to throw some paint though, so we might be all right.
I bet you do.
Yeah. So yeah, basically, I got into this. I've always been into art, I guess. So I wasn't sure what I wanted to do when I first got into school, whatever. So I started doing art in like high school. It's funny enough, I actually went to an art school for high school and middle school, and I actually never took art, which is weird, everybody says, but I always thought, how you gonna make money doing that, blah, blah, blah. So I just never did it for real, so I just kept it kind of low key. Yeah. Started doing like design work, like I was on, I played basketball and baseball all 4 years in high school, so I was on the team. So yeah, I would be on the bus, we going to and from games and whatnot, so I'd be trying to find something to do. That was before, I guess, I don't think I even had an iPod then, so I was bored. So I was trying to find something to do. I would do that. My friends would see it or whatever. They asked for, design work, things like that. I was really big into like anime stuff and like tattoo work. So I would just they started asking me like, a couple of guys, the older ones started asking me like, yo, you draw my tattoo design or whatever for me. And, maybe I can get something like that done or whatever. So I did that. A couple of the guys actually went and got some stuff done or whatever. So from that point, I was like, all right, so tattooing's where it's at probably. So like, let me think about what I want to do with that. But, first I'm going to do the responsible thing. I'm actually attempting to go to school. It's like, you're supposed to do that. Mm-hmm. So I went to UMBC for like a year, figured out that, I don't like math and science that much anymore. So, that's probably not going to work. So I was like, I got to semi skills. So I was like, let me try to use that maybe and not waste all this money going to school for no reason. So basically I dropped out of that. But before I did that, I dabbled. I started getting tattooed myself. And the dude, I would bring my own designs in or whatever. And the dude was like, these are kind of good. Have you ever thought about doing it yourself or whatever? And I was like, nah, not really. Like, I don't even know how you like start doing, learning that and doing that.
He wanted you to be a tattoo artist?
Yeah, he was like, have you ever thought about doing it yourself? Being a tattoo artist yourself, whatever. Because I only ever got my own designs like tattooed myself. So he was like, yeah, you should probably think about it. Because he would hang them up, he'd hang a couple of them up in this little shop or whatever it is, and apparently people would like a couple people pick them out, which is kind of weird actually when I think about it, because somebody else is walking around.
I was just about to say that's wild to think that you got your work kind of just walking around.
Yeah, I probably should have said something about that, but I don't think I ever did.
No, that's dope. That's crazy to think about that your art's somewhere.
It's probably still hanging out somewhere. I don't know where that guy's at now, but it's probably still up there somewhere. But yeah, so I started doing that, and then he was like, you should think about getting into it. So while I was still at school, I was like, all right, I should probably, let me see about what can I do about that. So I started like doing my own design work, started, doing all the stuff you're not supposed to do, like buying all the crap off the internet, and, all the online tattoo stuff and real, scratcher stuff is what they call it. But basically I started doing that, and I started like, people were like, my homeboys were like, yo, can you do this? Or can you do that? And I was like, all right, if y'all want to risk it, like, go ahead. So, we started tattooing in the dorm room, and, they didn't like that very much. My RAs didn't like that apparently. So
hold on. So you were tattooing out of a dorm room?
Yeah, I did a couple. I did a couple. I wish I didn't, but I did a couple.
You remember the first tattoo you ever put on somebody's skin?
Oh man.
In the dorm room.
I don't remember what it was. I think it was like initials or something, but it had to look like, I don't even want to see it at this point. I don't even want to know what it is. I don't even want to know what it looks like. Like, I don't want to know that he's named nothing.
Maybe he got it covered up somewhere.
I'm hoping, but hey, he made that decision. So.
If it's anything you're doing like on the shoes, I'd be really pissed if he got it covered up, because you got some. That's crazy.
Nothing like that. So I'm hoping they all got it all taken care of at this point. But yeah, so I started doing it in the school, whatever, and once I decided I wasn't going to continue doing that, I figured, okay, I have this thing I might be able to do, so like maybe I don't need to go to school, maybe I can just kind of like go to tattooing school, because that's like a thing to get an apprenticeship. You have to like learn how to do it. So when I decided I wasn't going to go back, I decided I'm going to try to figure out how you get into that and how you like get an apprenticeship, because I didn't know how to do that either. So I would just go around to all the different shops. I went to like 40 different tattoo shops, like all over Maryland, all over the place, trying to figure out who would teach me how to do this like the legit way, so I wouldn't have to like keep
doing it out of your dorm room.
Right, yeah, so that's not the deal thing. So I was like, let me figure out how to do this the real way. But nobody, apparently it's like real stingy to like get into that business. I need to figure out a way to like do something I know I can be good at. So, but while I was at the shop and I had a lot of downtime just sitting there, because nobody knows who you are. You don't have people coming in and lining up and anything like that. So, I had a lot of downtime waiting for like walk-ins or whatever. So I would take Vans and Converses, and I would grab like Sharpies or whatever, and I would just do like the tattoo designs, like the flash designs they call it, the ones they sit on the wall. I would just do those on the shoe as like practice or whatever, right?
Right.
And I would try to see if I can make it look kind of cool or whatever. And I would just sit them up there, like kind of like how I'm back here. I would just sit them on the shelf somewhere, and like people would look at them or whatever. And I started doing that, and like I had 3 or 4 or 5 of them sitting back there, and people would come in and like, yo, where'd you get those from? Like who does those? I'd get a pair of those or something like that, right? So I was like, okay, maybe this is something. Maybe it's like a thing I could do, right? So I had a homeboy that I used to go to high school with that hit me up, said he wanted to do a clothing line. He wanted to open a stand in the mall, and would I be willing to put some of those on his stand? Because like, to help him sell shoes, bring traffic, yada yada. Right. So I was like, yeah. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, so we went to Towson Mall. It's the mall around here, and I went in there and we got a kiosk for like a 6-month contract or whatever it was, which is crazy expensive. It costs more to have a store. It costs more to have a kiosk than it does to have a store, apparently, which nobody told us. So, like, we didn't make no money this whole time. We were just basically spending money. But it was a good experience because, I put my shoes up there. I got my first, I had the manager of, like, Nordstrom and DTLR and places like that walk by, just going about their day in the mall, whatever, seen it, asked me if I wanted to do a couple of events for, like, Nordstrom and things like that. So I did those, got my first, like, events of, like, actually doing shoes for the public kind of thing. And then, I got my first, Ravens guys walk through the mall up there. They asked me if I could do some cleats for those guys. And then Manny Machado, hit me up from the Orioles. He's seen something somewhere, so it just kind of snowballed from there. And I was like, maybe I don't need them all. Like maybe I can just do this like online. Instagram was just starting to pop off. So I was like, I wasn't really into Instagram at that point, but I was like, I should probably use Instagram because I seen another guy that I used to go to high school with. He was real big doing this kind of thing, but on clothes, he had clientele like Kanye and Chris Brown and Fabulous, all these people. So I was like, damn, like he can do this with the designs he's doing. I was like, I could definitely do the same thing. I just need the eyeballs, I need the traffic. Right. So I was like, how you do that? So I just try to snowball with as many of these, local guys I could from the Ravens and the Orioles and things like that. And then, Instagram kind of started popping off, and I got my first out of town clients. Like guys like LaMelo hit me up, and a bunch of other people, and that kind of snowballed me up there a little bit, and started the YouTube, and it kind of popped off from there, and that's kind of how we got here today.
Man, so I think that's the coolest stuff. Those are the coolest stories when the whole tattoo thing. You go into this, and so many people think like, I can sit down with a pen and paper and write out like my plan, because people do have like clear visions of what they want to do, but it's odd how what they want to do and where they are right now, how much can change, in between those 2 points. And for you to go, into tattooing and do all that stuff, which I think is sweet. The whole tattoo thing piqued my interest right away. I love, tattoos. I love ink. I love art, in general. I was never as talented as you are with it. I remember, sitting around and sketching in class when I'd get bored and stuff like that. And, my grandpa would always say like, hey, you should try to do something with this, but he was biased. It probably wasn't that good, but that's what grandpas are for. And, no, seriously, like I think that's really cool.
One thing I kind of figured out was if you're going to do something in business, you kind of got to, once you dip the toe, there's no point dipping. You got to just jump in.
So, yeah, you just got to go, right?
Yeah. If you're only spending 20% doing this and you think you're going to save, another 80% over here for a real job or whatever it is, then that's just 80% of the time you're not making money or making any headway in what you really want to be doing. So,
right.
Yeah, the easiest way to get out there and make some money is to, make it so you have to pay a bill with this right now. Otherwise, you're going to be in some serious trouble. So, the first time I had to pay a bill with some art, I came through and I did it. So after that, I was like, yeah, this is it. Like, I'm going to have to do something with art now for pretty much for good now. So it's going to be paying the bills. So.
No, that's sweet. I got you. No, see, like, honestly, I don't know. Sasha's probably texting me right now telling me we gotta start actually moving along, because I could sit here and talk to you for probably 5 hours. We could have a really long podcast right now. I'm not going to take that time out of your day. But I think that's really, really, really cool. Talk to me about, we talked about your come up and the way that you grew your brand and everything. You make some sneakers and design some shoes for some extremely big names. Just go on about, who your favorite athlete to work with was so far, and some experiences that you've had because of customizing sneakers. And just kind of expand on that, because you talked about LaMelo. I saw pictures, you with Shaq. This has taken you to some crazy heights. And then, we'll talk a little bit more right at the end about what you would give advice for to young kids, because like we were talking about, everybody thinks they have this plan drawn out about where they're going, but just one piece of advice at the end. But before we get to that, tell me about your favorite piece that you've done, and who your favorite athlete to work with was and why.
All right, cool. So my favorite piece, like actual like painting on a shoe, that's always hard because I try to top myself on a lot of stuff. So a lot of these, I'm like, yeah, once I get finished, I'm like, yeah, I did it this time. Like, this one's good. Like, this is my new favorite one. But I don't know if I really had to pick one, just because of the rarity of the shoe and like the design itself. I really got to do what I really like wanted to do myself. I did one for YouTube, which is like a pair of Air Mags or whatever, the Back to the Future, Martin McFly joints.
Yep.
And I did a pair of those, and I did them in a Dragon Ball Z design. I said my favorite show. I had to do my favorite show on my favorite shoe ever. Like, I never thought I'd be able to touch a pair, let alone like I actually own one now, but I never thought I'd be able to touch a pair. So like when I first got a pair, and somebody let me paint them too on top of that. So I was like, I don't know who this crazy person is, but hey, I'll take it. So it popped off for YouTube. It's one of my first videos to hit a million views on YouTube. And
so somebody just sent you these Air Mags. They can do this where on your YouTube they can just reach out to you and say like, hey, this is what I want. How can we work out a deal?
Yeah, I mean, it's usually a lot easier through like Instagram and through like I have my manager's text number, that kind of thing, to actually get an order placed with me like that on the website. YouTube, I don't really get to interact with people as much as I want to on there yet. But
Right.
yeah, but I mean, yeah, this guy apparently I did an event. I did a competition at a sneaker con in like DC or something like that. I guess he saw me there and decided he wanted to send a pair down and have me do a pair there. So, so I guess that popped off from that, like when I did that way back. So that's one of the other things, touching on the end point. You never know in this business, especially, you never know when you're going to meet that one person that 8 months later or 6 months later is going to give you something to do that, you're going to pay a bill or, you're going to get to do something really cool with. So that happens all the time in this business. So I never know. Like I always have to take all the opportunities because, I never know what's going to pop off when. So you just kind of take your shot, never say no kind of thing. But yeah, so that's probably my favorite piece, like individual piece I did. And shoot, my favorite person that I've ever like worked with or athlete, if we're going athlete, that's tough too. Cause I mean, I know a lot of like cool, but shoot, I say just maybe Zion. He's probably like my favorite, like, just cause he's so like, he's such a humble dude. Like he's like a regular dude. So him, maybe RJ too, both of them are like straight up just regular dudes. So so they're pretty cool to work with, and the exposure in that scene was pretty huge. So so they might be my favorite. Like if I just had to pick one to redo, like that would be like the first go-to. But as far as
Zion and RJ, are those your craziest experiences so far, or is there somebody else that you would say, man, like
experience? I mean, they're probably my favorite, like people will actually work with. My crazy experience, that'd be like a tie. So like I did a pair for if you guys watch the Marvel movies for SPIDERMAN, which is Tom Holland or whatever. So I did a pair for him. I got to go out and meet him, like do the whole thing. He tried to give me a pair for Robert Downey Jr. That was crazy. I was like, all right, but we were still working on that one.
What'd you do for Robert Downey Jr.? That's crazy.
He wants me to do a pair for him. So we're trying to work that one out. So I don't know, he just pitched it to me, but so that was just crazy, just being there. And he's like another one that's like a straight up regular dude. Like it's almost like he doesn't know he's that famous. It's just kind of weird. Because like if he went outside, he'd definitely get moms. But so yeah, he's probably like him or going to meet with Shaq for the first time. That was pretty crazy. Shaq or D Wade, one of those guys. Those are probably those are all three tied for like my favorite. Like going to D Wade's crib for the first time and going to Shaq's house, and sitting there and having Shaq tell me for like an hour about how to be rich. Like that's probably like my favorite.
So he sat down and really was real with you, huh?
Yeah, for sure. Shaq's like the realest dude out there, apparently. Like, I mean, he looks like it, but then he really is. So, it's crazy.
Yeah, so he lives up to that, huh?
Yeah, he was trying to give me all the knowledge. So, I appreciate all that for sure. But, just once you get in there and you see the house, you see the crib. I mean, it's basically the size of a hotel. You're like, all right, you should probably listen to whatever this guy's talking about because he definitely knows what's going on. So,
that's wild, man.
Yeah, so as far as business goes, that's definitely where it's at. And if I had to give like a point to like anybody like coming up, trying to like do something in business or do something with even art, doesn't have to be just art, but just for business. It's always, it's like what I said earlier, never say no, always say yes to whatever's going on. Because I'm like 9 pivots in right now. And that's only because I just was like, all right, let's try that. Let's do this. Let's try that. And you never know what's going to like kind of work out and pop off. So that's kind of my thing. So always just keep going to whatever's the next thing going on, because it's definitely not.
Yeah, I love the fact that you would give that piece of advice. Just never say no, because I feel like there's a lot of we all have these ideas, whether they're crazy or not, in our mind, and generally they're not like, oh, in 30 years I want to be sitting in a cubicle typing stuff for some guy I don't even know, and that's not the dreams that people have, but we end up there so many times because we tell ourselves, well, no, I'm not going to do this because, that's risky, or people could look at me this way, or I could end up here, how am I going to make money or do whatever it is? And, the thing that I love about you and your story is that you've taken and combined two like very interesting things, like in this day and age with art and sports, and you've morphed into what is now the largest sneaker customization, and just kind of this now personality with your YouTube channel, which how many subscribers are you at right now?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I think it's like where were we at, like 540, 50, something like that. Something, maybe, I don't know, something like that. So yeah, I mean, it's not too bad, in a year and a half or whatever it is. Doing
sitting at like 2,000 subscribers, and very inconsistent posting. Yeah, so that's awesome. What's the next move for you?
I I don't actually know right now. Right now, I'm trying. I mean, I don't have anything major crazy going on, that I can like.
I mean, other than working with Iron Man, you don't have anything crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, nothing crazier than that popping off right now. But yeah, I mean, kind of on a more like actual like getting everything together, because that's another thing you got to tell the kids. They start doing this. Like nobody, especially in a business like this, there was nobody I could ask like, how do you do this? How do you start doing that? Like, what do you do when you get to this point? Like, what happens when you have 200, 300 orders, at one time, and you're only one person? Like, how do you do that? Like, so like the one thing I have going on right now is basically trying to organize everything that I have going on. So between YouTube, doing all the, the pairs for all the homies, and all the guys that hit me up on Instagram, and doing all the actual order work, and then the YouTube stuff, and then the show, all that stuff. Basically trying to organize everything to a manageable, like actual, like where I can actually go outside and like have a day to like do something.
You got a secretary yet, man? Gee, I mean, all that stuff. I feel like you need somebody.
I got a couple people. I got some help, but we're getting out. We had a team meeting for the first time, last week or whatever. So we're getting it together. So I'm doing that, and then basically trying to organize the YouTube. I want to get to like a point where I'm posting consistently, and I got different content. We're working on this new like NBA and 2K kind of thing that we're gonna do. To like talk about what's going on in the NBA and the college scene or whatever's going on basketball. Basically, talk about that kind of stuff while we're hooping or doing 2K or whatever, working with different guys, doing that kind of stuff. Trying to do stuff that's not so straight up, me in a shoe, but still in the same lane kind of thing. So we're just kind of expand the same way you're doing yourself. So
no, I would love to see you sitting there, talking about 2K or just the NBA in general, and then you're talking about guys who are rocking pairs of your custom shoes like a Ja Morant or a Zion Williamson or RJ Barrett, all these guys. LaMelo, he's got a pair of yours, right?
Yeah, LaMelo was one of my early guys. He sent me one of his jerseys. That was pretty cool. He was like the first guy to do that. He sent me one of his jersey. Yeah, one of his Lithuania joints. So like that was pretty cool.
Okay, the Lithuania one.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that'd be a cool one to have on the wall somewhere. I got a collection of them now, so I'm trying to like keep it going. But,
hey, Corey, I appreciate you coming on. Serato on all the socials. You guys go hit him up, follow him, and look at all the great stuff he's been doing. He's blowing up, and we appreciate you coming on the show, man. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you having me.
All right. That was me chopping it up with Sierato. Obviously a really cool guy and doing a lot of crazy stuff through art and through sports, meeting a lot of crazy people, and a pretty wild story. If any of you have stories like that or are on that similar kind of journey or path, reach out to me. And before we get into fan love questions, which we do at the end of every episode, just want you guys to realize that you can reach out to my own socials, Jordan McCabe 5 on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all that stuff. I'd say Facebook, but don't reach out to me there. I haven't been active on Facebook since like 2011. So don't do that. Maybe we'll get that up and running again, but that'll be outsourced as well. So you can reach out to me on there, and you can reach out to Ask Jordan at itsovertime.com. Once again, that is Ask Jordan at itsovertime.com. Reach out to me with any questions, and hopefully those questions end up here on our finalization of every episode and our segment that we call Fan Love. So this week we have submitted by Sam on YouTube. What are 3 things that undersized guards need to make it to the next level? And he's meaning college, meaning the next level. So this question, I really didn't read through these. This is right off the top. 3 things that undersized guards need to know or need to do. From our scrimmage here with Penn State, being kind of my first live game since last year against, a different opponent because we had our little inter-squad scrimmage. I can tell you, Sam, that as an undersized guard, it's tough because you're living in a world right now where the scoring point guard is the one who gets a lot of this, notoriety and attention, and the media kind of really dials in on these point guards who can score the ball at a high clip. You have to understand that if you're sitting right now at like 5'11" to 6'2", that doesn't necessarily mean you can't be a scoring point guard. Thus a Trae Young comes onto the scene and completely demolishes that. fallacy, but you have to understand that that may not be what gets you there. Hugs always tells us, in order to make it to the next level, which we all do, we all want to end up in the NBA, you have to be really, really good at something. And that seems super, super easy and watered down or whatever you want to call it, but it's very true. You have to have one thing in your game when somebody sits down and they watch you and they either say, he runs a team better than anybody else I've ever seen. His vision in transition is better than anybody else I've ever seen. He makes the right decision every time, and he doesn't do anything that's going to, get in the way of his team winning. Those are little things that, Sam, if you can kind of hone in on, like, hey, this is what I do well, don't run away from that because it might not be scoring 40 a game, and you want to just continue to try to work on moving towards being that scoring point guard. That's either, you'll know if that's in your skill set, and even if it's in your skill set, it may not be what's best for your team. And I think that's what makes undersized guards, or just guards in general in the game of basketball, elite or just very good. The elite ones are somebody who sacrifices themselves for the betterment of their team. So I know that's a lot. I know I didn't hit 3 points there for you. I'm not great at that. Sometimes I ramble, especially about stuff like this, because I think it is important. Undersized guards and guards that, may not put up 40 a game are kind of, marginalized now with these scoring point guards kind of taking over. But just remember that, Steve Nash, John Stockton, all these guys who were past first point guards got us to where we are today, and that there's going to be a precedent set for more and more of those kind of guys. So understanding that role of maybe not averaging 40, but averaging 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever points a game, and your assisted turnover is sitting at like 4-1, 5-1. Those are guys that may not always show up. Like, I think of a Kyle Lowry, not always going to put up the craziest numbers in the world, but he's got a ring. He's got an NBA championship. There's articles written about how Kyle Lowry affects a game compared to other people, and it's insane. Just the small little decisions, making the right decisions, sacrificing himself for the team on a consistent basis. That's what makes, I think, undersized guards and just guards in general great. Our next question is from Andrew. Andrew Thoppel. Sorry if I did not pronounce that correctly. What are you doing to improve your weaknesses? This is great. Kind of goes off what we were just kind of talking about. Do you do anything specifically to improve athleticism such as explosiveness, vertical leap, and overall change of direction? So, Andrew, that's a really good question, because I think when people become obsessed with this game, they have their strengths, which we talked about. You'll know it if you just ask anybody who watches you on a consistent basis. They can tell you what your strengths are. Personally, I can handle the basketball. I feel that allows me to get our team into offense. I can pass, especially in transition when things are happening quickly, and try to make the right decisions. So those are my strengths. And then you're asking about how do I work on my weaknesses. And I think it's really important when you go in every day, if your workout is like a pie chart, I would say that over half of your workout, probably 60 to 70% of your workout, should be honing all the small details of those strengths. Because like I said to Sam, you are going to get moved up level after level based on that one thing that you do really well. Because as a coach or a GM, I need to take this guy who does this really well and this guy who does this really well and 3 other guys who do their thing really well together, put 5 on the court that complement each other in the right way to win a championship. So when you're going into workout, that pie chart of your workout should look like 70% of your strength, and really honing in and trying to get better and better at those. So that's what they see. And then that GM that's looking at you now sees that's your strength, and that 30% that you work on your weaknesses. For me, like you talked about, athleticism, but I think you hit on, change of direction, which I would say lateral change of direction, defensive stuff, all those concepts. If I work on 30% of my day every single day, now I'm working to shore up those weaknesses so that my strengths can be even further highlighted when I am out there playing. So that is the answer on that. What am I doing to improve them? I'm probably sitting down and writing them down. Otherwise, you go in the gym without a plan and things get messy. Sit down, figure out your strengths, figure out your weaknesses, and then figure out how you're going to hone in on both of those. Our third question here, submitted by Red Pickle 112 on YouTube. Why do you pick WVU over every other college that offered you? WVU, and I've answered this question hundreds of times, and I have no problem answering it 101 times. This is a family. It's a school and a program that's built on that. And I think you are probably listening and being like, yeah, okay, family. Everybody says they're part of a family, and people break down the huddle and say family on three and all this stuff, but they don't really mean it. This school, this organization is a family. And I want to share just a quick story about how I knew I made the right choice to come here to WVU. So I was a freshman last year, and I can remember vividly working out with one of our recruits. And during that workout, I got a phone call from my father. And sorry, this is going to get somewhat heavy, but this is honestly when I, had my eyes opened to what this school does in terms of being a family. But I got this phone call during my workout. It was my dad, and my mom had just been diagnosed with breast cancer. So obviously that hit me harder than anything's ever hit me in my life, being that my mom is a rock for me, somebody who's done so much and is the best person in the world. And we could have a whole episode, and maybe we should, with mom, and just talking about how much of an amazing person she is. I get that news, and then within weeks, she ends up in Morgantown. And if we reverse that, she was going to have treatment done back home. She's obviously in Wisconsin, where I'm from. But when she found out the terrible news and our program got wind of it, Hugs was the first one to sit down with me and talk to me, who he also has had family history of different things like that, and set up organizations, the Norma May Cancer Foundation. If you have the means to donate to that, I highly suggest you do, because all that money goes to a great cause. And Hug sits down and talks to me and uses his connections and everything that he's done as a basketball coach here to help me in a situation that you do feel helpless when you get that call. And my mom is on the first flight out to Morgantown because of Coach Hugs, and meeting with a doctor here at Ruby. And I'm not going to disclose her name, but this doctor is phenomenal. She's amazing. She sat down with my mom, talked about different options that she had. They went through with the surgery and everything's well. And fast forward to a year later now, she just had her checkup, and she is completely cancer-free as of right now, which is amazing. And I remember sitting there, the night that Hugs walked me through our plan of action as a family, and how we were going to get, things taken care of and straightened away. And I just remember sitting there thinking, all the people that asked me, why WVU? I wish I could just kind of take that recording of 48 hours or 24 hours after finding out probably the worst news that I've gotten in my entire life, and how much of a family, we became through something that was very difficult. So outside of the fact that this is one of the best basketball programs in the country, very prestigious, and, though we had a difficult year last year, this is a very prideful school. On top of all that, you do see the family atmosphere and everything that you want out of a school. So that's why I picked WVU, and that's why I believe I was right in my choice. So hopefully you'll see this thing grow. And like I said, I'm starting to like the title of this podcast being Subject to Change with Jordan McCabe. Still got to talk to that wonderful team that I just mentioned about that. But like I said, everything is subject to change around here, including the decor of my apartment. So I appreciate you guys listening to episode 3. If you have any questions for me, you know where to find me. If you don't, rewind about 7 minutes, That's a off the top guess. Or you can just go on the Ask Jordan at itsovertime.com and submit your questions there, and we'll try to get you in on Fan Love. I hope you guys have a great week. Like Serato said in his interview, stop saying no to everything. Stop giving yourself an excuse. Stop finding reasons to not go out and do something. We all have ambitions. We all have ideas. And somehow we always find a way to tell ourselves, well, maybe it's just safer to continue what I'm doing. But then again, you may not be fully happy with what you're doing. So stop saying no, start saying yes. And those connections that you make are going to continue, to compound like his have and take you to places you might have never expected yourself to go. So go out there, have a good week. I appreciate you guys listening in. Go do stuff. Be nice. Be kind to one another. I love you, and we will see you next week.
Woohoo! That's the one right there, Larry.
I know. I'm trying to tell you that Joe was fire, right? If you want to check out the rest of the videos, they're right here for you. And subscribe.